This week, we talk about cigar packaging with Humberto, who will join us on the lines via Skype. Mr. Mel Shah will join us from M. Bombay for a special announcement. In studio, we have from the infamous Ass-Pressed episode, Mr. Mike Bellady will join us in studio and on the lines via Skype. Special guest host Aaron Loomis, all that and more. So stay tuned. This is a Security Weekly production. Brought to you by, paying homage to the Mecca of tobacco, Pinar del Rio, Cuba, Abe Flores opened his PDR cigar factory in the Dominican Republic over 10 years ago. Abe is one of the hottest boutique cigar makers in the industry today, earning the number 10 spot on Cigar Aficionado's Top 25 Cigars of 2014 with the Abe Flores 1975 Serie Privada. Abe and his team use Cuban blending traditions in a modern boutique Dominican factory. Smoke PDR cigars and cut, light, and taste what they love to do. M. Bombay cigars represent the most admired cigar culture of Cuba. They select the best of the best quality tobacco to use in the aging process. M. Bombay cigars are then rolled in Costa Rica by some of the most experienced cigar rollers, giving it a unique smoking experience. The band portrays the detailed and artistic nature of our small industry. Try the M. Bombay Casera, M. Bombay Mora, and the recently released M. Bombay Havana. M. Bombay cigars, where the cigar is a way of life. I love that I get to smoke cigars and call it work.
Hey, Paul.
What's going on, cigar newbie?
I'm halfway through this cigar you gave me, and I was wondering if I could put it out and save it for later.
No.
Well, I wanted to try the Liga Privada with the Connecticut wrapper, and I was wondering where I could get some of those.
Yeah, so those don't exist.
Well, I also have some of the cigars you gave me from before, and I was wondering if I could store them in my refrigerator.
Only if you're going to eat them.
Don't be like Mark. Subscribe to Stogie Geeks Shorts with Paul and Will, a 10-minute show about all things cigar smoking. We provide tips and tricks on humidification, cigar storage, mini reviews on select cigars, accessories, and more. Stogie Geeks Shorts is one-stop shopping for learning about which cigars to smoke and the right way to cut, light, and store your favorite stogies. You can watch Stogie Geeks Shorts on our YouTube channel or subscribe using your favorite podcast app. For all the latest episodes, visit stogieshorts.tv.
Hey, Paul, this cigar is awesome, and I wanted to share it with you, and I was going to cut it in half.
Oh, boy. You need to watch Stogie Geeks Shorts. Everyone to the Stogie Geek Show. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian, joined in studio by the now infamous Mike Bellady, who is here for the most famous moment in Stogie Geeks history, the Ass-Pressed episode. And I think in honor of that, I'm just going to sit on some cigars. Is that okay? I'm just gonna sit on it first and then smoke it. Welcome, Mike, into studio.
Hey, Paul.
Back to the show.
Thanks for having me back. It's always great to be here.
It's wonderful. I'd love to sit on my cigars and then smoke them.
Nobody sits on a cigar like Stogie Santa, though.
I know. I sometimes I like him to sit on the cigar. He gives it a different
That's
essence.
a little creepy. But listen, what you want to do if you want to do it properly, as Mark showed us, is make sure it's lit first, then sit on
then
it.
sit on it. I have some pretty nice pants on. You know. Let's see on the lines via Skype, Mr. Will Cooper. Welcome, Will.
Welcome back, Paul.
Yes, it's good to be back.
I'm telling you, it's for folks who don't know, this is our Tom Brady here, and I'm going to use Paul terms so you can understand. Tom, this is our quarterback here. Great to have you back.
His balls are deflated. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah.
I would
I don't know what's going on right now.
I would drink my own bathwater. Is that what he's saying? I don't.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I think that was a compliment. I don't know if he was being facetious or not.
Never.
You're a Patriots fan, though, right?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Good.
I just couldn't resist the joke.
Yeah.
It was right there for me.
I just had a third kid. There's nothing wrong with my balls.
Listen, you're getting very defensive. I just want to point that out.
Have you seen the picture of the dad holding the baby? And he's pointing at it, and the caption reads, "My balls created this." He's got like this big smile on his face. My wife and I had a great laugh about that.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Aaron Loomis joins us. Welcome, Aaron, to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Aaron. Aaron's going to cover for me for the Stogies of the Week section because I have to run home, but also me reviewing cigars during this period has been kind of difficult because I haven't been spending too much time in the office, and my wife hates it when I'm holding the baby and smoking a Stogie at the same time. You know, I mean, what do you mean I can't smoke in the house?
A little difficult.
It's a little difficult. Well, why don't you introduce our very first special guest this evening?
Yeah, Blockbuster. So we have a gentleman by the name of Humberto Areas of Cigar Package Design. I got to know Humberto a few years ago. He's doing some great things in the area of cigar packaging, branding. So Humberto, welcome to the Stogie Geeks show.
Hey, Coop. Thanks for having me.
So Humberto, how did
You're
you
in a
get to?
humidor.
Yeah, you're in a humidor. What's up with that?
He's got more cigars than I do.
Hey, listen, we're going to be grabbing a few cigars in a minute, and there's no better place to be in than in a humidor at arm's length.
Is that your own personal humidor, or are you in a store?
I am actually out of Master Cigars in Miami, Florida.
Gotcha.
Hey, Paul, before we kind of get into this, there was one thing I wanted to tell. We were going to have a Where's Waldo with Jack Tarano tonight. It was planned, but unfortunately, Jack did have something come up, and he could not do it. So, but it was almost planned.
That's a Jack signature move, video bomb, photo bomb.
Yes,
Yep,
yes,
exactly.
it is. So, Humberto, how did you get started in the cigar industry?
Oh, goodness. Well, you know, it kind of it happened while we were enjoying cigars one day, and we got a call from our friend Willie Herrera back in 2008. He was down in Little Havana with Sandy and the whole gang at Titan de Bronce, and the rest is history.
So, how did you get into the packaging end of cigars?
You know, in 2010, we get a very special opportunity. Charlie Tarano, his dad, the entire family were taking distribution and sales back from CAO. And we had an opportunity to come in and rebrand the entire company and get them ready for the IPCPR that was taking place in New Orleans that year, 2010. And we had a great run with Tarano Cigars over 4 years. We did plenty of packaging, quite a few brands, not only private, but, brick and mortar, and great working relationship. As you guys know, most companies are family owned and operated. So whenever you have somebody from the outside come in and bring new ideas and try to putting new energy into the packaging and the overall presentation, sometimes is hard to win, the confidence of the family.
So Humberto, let me ask a follow-up. So when you were brought in, was this the time when Carlos Tarano Cigars was becoming Tarano Family Cigars? Was this that whole transition?
That was the whole transition. And let me tell you, Coop, it was a nightmare because, I'm thinking now of the Charlie Tarano Captiva. And as you know, Charlie takes vacations, summer vacations that come in Captiva every single year. And when we came in to do that whole rebrand, he was gone. He was on vacation. Limited email, limited phone calls. And we had just weeks to rebrand the company, come up with a new booth design. IPCPR 2010 New Orleans was by far one of the most hectic ones we've had in a long time.
So what went into that specific rebranding? I mean, what was some of the things you were looking to do?
Well, the guys wanted to make it their own. They wanted to put their fingerprint back on the Toraño, and they wanted everyone to know that this was a family-owned and operated company, and that was one of the biggest goals that we had to graphically put on screen, on paper, on booth designs, on everything, and everything follows suit with the Toraño family cigar company. I think family was one of the most important elements that we had to incorporate.
And did you stay involved with that piece through Toraño's sale to General?
We had a great run, as Charlie Toraño would say. Boys, we had a great run. It was over 4 years of working side by side with Charlie and Carlos Yaca Toraño, and Jack and Oliver Hyams and all the great folks that were a part of the team up until the sale, and even through the sale and the transitional period over to General, we were a big part. As you could imagine, it was over 4 years worth of work, and it was a smooth transition, though.
Excellent.
Humberto, how do you come up with the ideas for different cigar packaging and marketing? Like, is there like how much art, how much science, and like how does it come together when you come up with the final product?
One thing we learned the hard way is that there's no formula to making a great band, a great packaging. We are your best friend. We're your stylist. Obviously, every cigar starts out with a MSRP price. So the price point has a lot to do with the design, the intricacy of the embossing and the foiling and everything that goes into it. You'll be surprised how much detail you can fit into a 3x1 cigar band. But we ask the guys and all the manufacturers and that we work with, what. Let's start putting a profile together for this cigar. What kind of, what colors, fonts, let's start building a profile. And again, let's keep the price point in mind, and we take it from there. We have a very thorough creative questionnaire. If we had a crystal ball, we'll be millionaires.
That's right. I know it's hard with design like that for your customers to convey the message, like what do they want? That can be a difficult question. And then for you, like I think of it when I create content, like sometimes I just get stuck in, do you like get like a mental block like that? And what do you do to overcome that to start coming up with the design? I know what I do, but I want to hear like what you do to be creative like that and come up with the designs.
We don't force it. We get pretty lengthy bullet points of things that are a must when it comes to for the final band. But there's days that we come into the office and believe me, aside from smoking and chatting and having a good time, nothing creatively happens. You have to. We like to reach out back to the client and say, hey, listen, we had this other idea. Nothing really happened on screen today. What about if we take this approach? Because we also like to do a lot of research. When we see clients, heading into a dead end street, we try to steer them away of what they can and cannot do just from a legal standpoint. So sometimes the client has something in mind, and then we interpret that idea and we come up with something else that is along those lines, and they're quite happy with it.
Do you ever come up with designs that you personally like despise, but that's what the client wanted? that must happen?
That's a good question.
We try to avoid pitching those ideas because 99.9% of the time, the one design that you don't like is the one that's going to get chosen. Based on the client's,
I see.
it
Yeah.
happens every single time, and you'll be surprised. But when a client comes back with feedback and the creative questionnaire and what they have in mind and what they're envisioning for the overall presentation of their product, we try to go give the client something they're expecting. B, give the client something we think it's really going to fit their look and feel and have a presence in the humidor, not copying anyone else, and be something way out in left field. But by all means, we're happy with all three options. We never give anything, we try not to give anything that we're not happy with, because when we do, that's the one that gets picked.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's a great answer. Like we like everything that we create, and we only present the designs that you approve of, which is great. Some people over time, and I've heard a lot of, cigar podcasts and read a lot of articles and followed the media and the cigar blogs. And one of the themes that I can pull out about cigar packaging is there are some preconceived notions, and one of them is that most people believe that the color blue in a cigar band doesn't work. And I think more recently, we've kind of seen that trend go away, and people have used blue very effectively.
Some very smart people, Paul.
Some very smart people, good-looking people like Mike Bellady, have done it successfully. Well, what is the color blue difficult to work with in a cigar band? And if so, why and how do you overcome it?
The color blue is not difficult at all. I think whenever somebody wants to go the blue route, as long as it's not a punchy blue or like a monitor RGB blue, I think they're in the safe zone. Blue is a very majestic color. It brings a lot of high-end qualities to the overall packaging. Believe it or not, green is one of the hardest colors to work with.
That was my next question.
Yeah, green is one of the hardest colors to work with. That's why they make night vision goggles in green, because it has the most wide range of gamma in the spectrum of colors. But whenever you combine blue with silver or gold or copper, it looks very regal, very majestic. It's very high-end looking.
And is gold the most popular one of the colors that you include in a lot of the band designs?
Gold is by far the most popular. Nowadays, we have silver metallic inks, we have foils, we have both matte and gloss foils and inks. And the contrast between the two, sometimes it works great. You've seen it over and over again. There's many great examples of those two-tone golds, and it's very effective. It looks very premium.
So, Humberto, do you smoke the cigars that you design the bands for? Like, what percentage of the band designs that you do you smoke that cigar when it comes to market?
We put our mouth...
Your mouth where the band is, right?
That's
so
right.
To speak.
That's right. That's right. We actually, it's very hard not to get close to the cigars, to the bands, to the blends. We've been very fortunate to be invited to test out, blends 1, 2, 3, 4, however many blends it takes. And then not only do we see that process taking place, but, we also see, the sketch and the concept and the design and the layout. And it's just impossible not to get attached to all the different cigar bands and blends that, we've put out throughout the years.
So now, do you smoke the cigar like while you're working on the band design and incorporate kind of your impressions of that cigar into the band?
Absolutely, because every palate is different. We are not a retailer. We are not a manufacturer. We're not in sales. We're not in promotions, events, or anything like that. We're strictly creative, and we always bring in a different perspective on what we feel the cigar is evolving into. So we always take that into account as far as color palette, the different fonts. All that goes into play.
No, that's really cool. What are some of your more favorite band designs if you had to pick favorites? Can you pick favorites? I'm putting you on the spot. I know.
If I had to pick, every band has a story. Every blend has a story to tell. To me, the one that has hit by far the most is the Salutum we did under Toronjo Cigars, because of the story behind it. The idea for Salutum was inspired by Miguel Shodell. He is a brain cancer survivor. He came up with this idea of putting out a blend, a cigar that salutes everyone who has overcome a tragedy, a sickness, personal loss, anyone who's battling with something at one point or another and has overcome. So it's really a tribute to life, to overcoming different obstacles in life. And I think that's by far one of the most true stories that we've been a part of. And, when somebody approaches you with a personal story like that, and they ask you to put it graphically on a band, on a packaging, there's so much emotion and on a personal level is, you have to really let it sink in, digest it, put it together, break it back, break it apart again, and then put it back together just to make sure that you're visually conveying what that person had in mind.
When consumers walk into the humidor and they're choosing a cigar, a lot of people, I believe, have different kind of philosophies about the packaging. There are a lot of people that kind of dismiss it entirely, and there are other people that are on the opposite end of the spectrum, like, wow, that cigar looks great, I'm going to try it. And I've found that it doesn't always match up. Like sometimes the packaging is fantastic, but the cigar is just okay, and vice versa. What advice do you have for consumers on how they should perceive packaging, and how does that play into their psyche about like how good they're going to perceive the cigar?
Well, as creative individuals, as advertisers of a brand, we are going to try to put our best foot forward when it comes to packaging and overall presentation. As you know, humidors are a big classified ad. Everybody's competing for your attention, and you only have a few seconds before your eye jumps onto the next box. Something that really helps is shelf talkers and any other sort of information that you might see in a humidor. I've seen plenty of people walk into a humidor trying to experience something new, find something new. I've seen other people walking with magazines. Just give me the top 10 that you see here. Do you have these? So you get really a wide range of customers.
When we talk with our good friend Dave Burke and some of my other friends in Australia, and they talk about, in Canada too, I believe, and they talk about the stripping of cigar packaging. You're laughing already. This question's going, right? Like, what are your feelings about? I'm sure that must just like rip a hole in your heart when you hear about governments doing this to the packaging.
Well, listen, changes are coming. And we need to stay on top. We need to really be a guide, a resource to manufacturers, and stay informed. There's Canada and overseas in Asia. They're already doing that. Duran Cigars is a perfect example of that. Their market in Asia is huge, and the packaging, the boxes that we do for them, 50% of the box lid is empty. The logo or the name is either on the top half or the top bottom or over to the side, because 50% of that lid is going to be covered with a warning label, and it's coming.
Will is not there. Imagine
No,
that. Oh,
sorry
he's
about
there.
that.
Did you
Sorry
have
about
other closing questions for Humberto?
Yeah, I have a few. So on that theme, so right now with the FDA, there is this 30% rule that's going to cover part of the package. Is this something right now you're starting to plan for? Are these like designs that you have for existing clients that are going to have to be retrofitted? How are you kind of? I'm assuming right now you are having to plan that because that is the regulation. So these things now you have activities in place for.
Oh, most definitely. Like I said, aside from Duran Cigars, which is already doing that, everyone else is going to have to retrofit their packaging and make room for 30% coverage of their the front of the packaging for these labels to be placed on. And there's going to be like 6 different warning labels that are going to have to rotate, in the packaging.
Now, for clarification, these aren't just stickers that are going to go on the package, right? These are actual physical. It's going to be a physical part of the packaging, from what I understand.
Correct. And again, when you do stickers, it's more manual labor. It's like barcodes. You can make them part of the artwork, or you can have somebody else, physically put barcodes on all these boxes, and it just makes it more labor intense. More, it's not that really cost effective. So right now it's certain packaging that is going out to California needs to have warning labels already on them. We make that part of the artwork, and barcodes. We make that part of the artwork. So this is not going to be any different.
Excellent. Now, right now, here's how I guess, are you having, I guess this, I'll kind of say, do you view this as more opportunity for you, or do you view this more, I know from a creative standpoint, it's probably like ripping at you, but is this kind of opportunity to work with more clients to kind of design packaging to fit into these like regulations, so to speak?
Well, on the creative side, it's limiting for us. But to answer your question, it has opened a lot more doors. A lot more manufacturers have reached out because of the need to rework, the packaging, and whether they're doing paper wrap boxes or silk screen or cliches. There's definitely more opportunity now because little by little they're going to have to phase out what they have in inventory, and then comply to the new guidelines.
Understood. So I guess I don't know how much you could say about this, but you obviously have. Are there any projects that you're working on for particular manufacturers that you can talk about right now? In terms of what we can look forward to, some of your work to see down the road.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, IPCPR is going to have plenty of projects that haven't been. This past month has really been. All hands on deck. Everyone is getting ready for IPCPR next month. But definitely look out for, Flor de Gonzalez, Yadi, and her staff are going to be launching new blends at the show. Obviously, Duran Cigars. They're going to be launching new products at the show. So we're really excited not only to be working with those guys, but other boutiques that are also jumping on board. And again, because of the relationships that we've established over the years, and we take as much pride as working with the smaller guys as we do with the medium to large companies. What you see is what you get. We're hands on, and whenever you call, we pick up the phone.
Awesome.
So definitely expect new products from those two manufacturers at the show, and others that we can't yet comment on.
Understood.
Humberto, what's the most unique cigar packaging that, in your opinion, you've done? I've seen double bands, triple bands, quadruple bands, bands on the head, bands on the foot, tissue paper, tin foil, the whole thing. Like, what's the most unique one, in your opinion?
Well, I would have to say, as far as the overall presentation, was the blends from the vault that we did back in 2011. We did blend A008 and D042. These were the original idea behind that was, this is for Toraño, and their blend book was kept for many, many years in a safety deposit bank box in a bank, and the whole packaging was just in the form of a safety deposit box. And we did some really unique things with the execution of the printing. Our friends over at Vrijdag out in the Netherlands did the bands, and the powder that and the foils that we got on those were just incredible. We were so late with that project, we never saw the finished product until we were on the show, on the trade show floor, when we got it delivered, and it looked stunning. So it was both nerve-wracking and very satisfying at the same time.
Excellent. Will, did you have any other questions for Humberto? We're running a little short on time.
I think we're good.
Awesome. Humberto, thank you very much for appearing on the Stogie Geeks show. It was wonderful having you. We look forward to all of your interesting and unique packaging designs.
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Vegas. Again, congratulations on fatherhood.
Thank you.
And Will, thanks for the invite, and looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as always, and I'll see you in Vegas.
Thanks, Humberto.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.